What is going on, guys? Pomson87 here, and I'm here with the first episode of my All Drivers Career Mode series. We're round one in Australia, in Melbourne, and we're kicking off this series with style, and just going through the settings now for the race so you can have a look, see I'm not cheating. I'm going through all the settings and the rules that I explained in my intro video. If you want to have a look at the intro video to know all the rules and stuff, and then see my previous video. But now we're going to have a look and see what driver we picked for today's race. So we're going to click to spin right now. The wheel's spinning, as you can see on the screen, and it's slowing down. We're going to drive as Romain Grosjean. So it's a good steady start. Probably about middle sort of car, midfield. So that's a bit of a challenge to start off with. Romain Grosjean obviously drives Lotus, teammate Pastor Maldonado. And he was a fairly regular points runner in the 2015 season, so hopefully I can get another good solid points run. As you can see there, I was deleting his name off the list, so I won't be using him next time for Malaysia. So now we're heading into the race itself, into Melbourne for the first round of the season. And we're going to go straight into practice, see what the weather's going to be like any second. We're going to go for the intro screen. We're going to have Crofty do a nice intro for us. As we can see, these nice blue skies at the moment. Nice blue skies. As a typical Australian summer day, pretty much. Just nice, probably quite hot as well outside. As we're just going through the practice, through the setups and stuff like that. In case you don't know already, it's a 30-minute long practice session, and after this we're going to be doing 3 qualifying runs. So we're just going through a setup, choosing which one we want and looking through it. The only highlights from the practice sessions was this interesting battle I did with both Williams. They came out on prime tyres. I let them pass, and then they decided to go side by side through the S section. It was pretty cool. And then I decided to do a cheeky little run on Felipe Massa. So maybe this is maybe a battle like this is upcoming during the race. I'm not quite sure, as we're going to go side by side through the right-hander there, and he goes right round the outside. So that's a quite nice battle. And then there's another car behind us of Rosberg. So unfortunately, we have to let them pass as he goes in the outside of the hairpin. So that's not bad. We're just focusing at that point on long run pace on the prime tyres. We put it very full with fuel. Not nice English there. As a second highlight from practice session is we're joining out onto the soft tyres now for our second batch of runs, and you can see 2 cars. Well, I came back on the track and you see 2 cars spinning off into the gravel. As I go onto the replay cam and see what cars they are. I'm going to see what they are. It looks like it is a Red Bull of Daniel Kvyat and Fernando Alonso. Maybe it's a McLaren Honda he's collided with. Fortunately, I only caught the second after the crash. I don't know who made the first contact. But you can see both of them go spinning out. I'm not sure what the hell happened there. I don't know if any of them got a penalty heading into the race, but I guess we'll find out. And so the highlights through quali 1 and quali 2, there weren't really any highlights. I passed through both quite easily. Got through Q1 in prime times. Should add this. But this is actually my fastest lap of the weekend in Q3. I made it quite safely in on a fresh out option tyres, very low in fuel. So I'll go silent now, guys, as it's a pretty good lap, and let's see where it goes on the grid. So I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. So here we are, guys, going through the final corner on this lap now. Quali lap, which will determine where I'll be on the grid tomorrow. So where will it be? And so far in this part of the session we go fastest on a 1:28, pretty much dead. So we retired from the session there, as I didn't think I could actually improve my time. Actually, we don't retire in a minute. Both Ferraris and both Mercedes went quicker, unfortunately, after that. But either way, I don't think I can improve that much. And that's still an excellent P5, ahead of both Williams, which I wasn't expecting for the race. So that's epic. That was a good qualifying performance, and I was very pleased with that. It's very good news. But unfortunately, guys, I've got to tell you, that's where the bad news, the good news stops and the bad news intervenes. Because unfortunately, going into the race, I had to go away in between quali and the race. I came back, I think the next day or whatever, and this happened. This race strategy just displayed on the screen. I mean, that's just glitchy as fuck, pretty much. Apparently it says that you got to pit at the end of the first lap, and there's no prime stunts. I mean, what the hell? It's not just a display that's glitchy as well, as you're about to see as I go to attempt the race here. So we're attempting the race, we're going over from P5 on the grid. It's been a shocking start as usual. We're going to try and hang around both Mercedes to understeer off the track. And look at the traction going out of turn 2 there. That's just not right. The car does not behave like that. So it just starts swing sub. So we'll go restart it again. And look at the graphics display. All 4 tyres are yellowy red. I don't know what's going on. I think the game's just completely forgotten like the tyre situation I did my quali laps on. It's ridiculous, because the quali laps I did were on completely brand new option tyres, and they would not have worn out after two laps I did on them. They would not have worn out that quickly. So it was really frustrating, and that was the second time I tried it as well. The first time it happened the same way, so I left with no alternative but to do no quali for this. The game decides where I qualify for this round, unfortunately, and to do it from there. So you guys saw the settings I used to get into this race now. Unfortunately, all my good work from qualifying has been undone, so now you're about to see where I appeared on the grid, and unfortunately we're not even in the top 10. We're not even in the top 10, lads, so the game is just completely pisses, and we've been out-qualified by a teammate, Pastor Maldonado, who we completely smashed in qualifying. Worth to note, Felipe Nasr was up there in like P6, so good job on him. But either way, the game is completely screwed us over once again with one of its infamous glitches. Not really much I could do with that, but at least it meant I could do a custom setup. And look at that though. That's how the display is meant to be for your race strategy. A prime stint, completely ordinary, meant to pit, change tyres on lap 6 or whatever, so there you go, it's completely fine. But now we're going to go into the race, we're going to forget all that, we're going to go from P11 on the grid, going away. We've got 5 laps for the first round of the season. It's going to be underway now, and away we go. We get a fairly atrocious start once again. Verstappen's gone quite far ahead of us, and we're going to be nearly jumped by Kvyat and probably alongside us, so we go saw his end plate, but we broke much later than Verstappen. There was just enough room around the outside. We hang around the outside of the first corner, around the outside of him, and now we're in P10, releasing the points already. Following behind the cars ahead, they break very early as Maldonado goes side by side with Ricciardo, I think that was. As they go quite wide, we had to avoid smashing into the back of my teammate there. And it looks like there's a bit of a cluster ahead. There's a few people going slowly. We're going to sneak up the inside of Maldonado while we're at it. And while we're at it, we're going to sneak up the inside of Ricciardo. We almost touched his side pod. Somehow there wasn't any contact. But we get up the inside of Ricciardo. Very opportunistic there. And we're already up into P8. As I think there was Nasr and Bottas that went side by side through the corner, held everyone up. So that was a real opportunistic move there. As we're now going to the back straight towards the fast S section, sorry. As we're going to fall behind Nasr, we're going to try and get past him early on. We probably have a much better pace than the Sauber driver, especially in the early laps. AI tend to be a little slow in the early laps race. We're in the slipstream, we dive down the inside, and we get the move stick, but Nasr's going to hold it around the outside rather brilliantly. You can see him just in the left wing mirror there, but we're going to force him out a little wide there. Ricciardo's got the position on him, and it would go quite wide during the through the hairpin there, as we've obviously got a full tank of fuel. We're going to steer quite a bit, as Ricciardo's going to be in our slipstream, but that Renault engine surely cannot get the job done. But he's going to try, and he's in the slipstream, he's going to dive down the inside, but we're going to give him just enough room, and he doesn't have the balls pretty much to complete the move, so we're going to go lap 4 now. Maintain position. The front 6 runners were just completely pissed off with the distance, unfortunately. Bit of a shame, but that meant we had to defend quite hard from the Red Bulls behind, especially Ricciardo was very quick, as he tried to go for the outside line there, and we just maintained the inside quite well. So we're going to lap 6. We extended our first stint quite massively, but unfortunately meant our tyre wear was pretty severe, and we almost lost back end out on traction out of that corner, and that meant Ricciardo easily got the position ahead. Very unfortunate. And just look how much more grip he has through the S section. He completely pulled away from us. Though that could also be down to the Red Bull downforce, pretty much. So we're going to go into the pits at the end of lap 6. Well, we did keep to a strategy there. The engineer said to pit around the end of lap 6, and we at least went on target. Weirdly, none of the AI following us. Maybe they're pitting the lap afterwards. I'm not quite sure. But Lotus pit F1 Guru doing a 2.4 second stops, which is pretty average. Yeah, thank you for that. As they're going to ride around the track, and P15 behind, I think both Manners as Merrier that went past. There's another car coming down the pit straight there. You can see proximity arrows. They're going to hold around the outside. Not sure who it is. We're going to see in a minute. It's our teammate, Pastor Maldonado. So I don't think he's jumped us. I think he's... Oh, he might have jumped us, actually. He might have pitted earlier. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure he stayed out on the older tyres. As later on in that lap, we just easily caught to the back of him. As he's going quite slowly. We almost tapped the back of him through that right-hander. As we understeer a little bit in his dirty air, but we get much better exit. On the exit of the S's. But look at the straight line speed he has compared to us. It's a bit unusual. He pulled away from us there. It means we had to dive quite far back, going to the right-hander. But fortunately for us, Pasta decided not to battle with his teammate. Rather surprisingly, he backed out of a battle there. And now there's a bit of a cluster ahead, 4 cars. I think 3 of them going to the pits though, which is looking enough. Both Manners going to the pits together, a bit weird. And Hulkenberg, I'm not quite sure what Hulkenberg's doing battling with the Manners. Maybe he's got a little bit of damage, I'm not quite sure. I don't think he undercut me, but that was a Red Bull going on the pits there. I think that might have been Kvyat. Not quite sure. Kvyat was quite close behind Ricciardo in that first stint, so looks like I'll be battling with both Red Bulls today. But a little bit of drama up ahead. We can see Verstappen is completely pulled over the side of the track. I'm not sure if he's actually crashed into the wall. I'm going to have a replay here. I'll see what happened. Zoom enhance, and he's just pulled over the side. There's smoking a little bit there. So I think he might have had an engine blow. I'm not quite sure. Maybe a gearbox failure. It's a bit odd. Might be like what Verstappen suffered in the real life Melbourne Grand Prix. But Vettel has now suddenly appeared behind us. I think he might have made an extra pit stop. I'm not quite sure why. It might have been contact. But he was trying to hang around the outside of the S section, and that didn't work out for him. I didn't even touch him, and he just completely bottled it. But the very next lap, he's completely caught right up to the back of us. And the amount of downforce he had for the S section, he was able to carry much more speed. And he just hung around the outside, and nothing I could really do to react. He even broke quite late as well. And that's left us under the prey of Ricciardo. We go quite wide in the X section. Once again, the understeer in this car is pretty horrific. I mean, to go from the transition between practice and quali and the race, I upped the aero in this car because I knew this car suffered an aero. But unfortunately, it meant as well, our straight line speed was hampered. I mean, look at the Red Bull. We both had DRS as well, and Ricciardo was able to pull up alongside us. I mean, even with the slipstream advantage, surely the Renault-powered Red Bull shouldn't have been able to nearly pull off that kind of a move. So, pretty alarming to see that our car lacked in downforce as well as straight line speed. But we go through the S section there, and you can just see behind us there was someone who just completely spun out. We're gonna have a replay again after this, see who it was. But yeah, you can just see there someone spun off into the wall. I'm not sure if it's contact. I'll tell you now, guys, I was Felipe Nasr who just completely spun off into the wall. I'm not quite sure why. Both Red Bulls, after Ricciardo tried to get past me at turn 1 of that lap, where it spent pretty much the entire lap side by side. I can see it from behind me. I think maybe Nasr tried to get involved in that, and maybe misjudged it. I'm not quite sure. But we go back onto the track now. We're in P12 behind teammate Pastor Maldonado again, who somehow jumped us. Maybe just stayed out longer. I'm not quite sure. But a couple of laps later, he goes into the pit lane. So are most of the AI cars going to the pit lane as well. At the end of lap 14, I think we pitted the lap before. So that's the only so we're using the undercut quite effectively to stay out ahead of on. And look at that, there's Ricciardo, and that was a Williams as well. I think that might be Massa So we're now into P6. That's a pretty high position. I'm expecting about P7 for this race. So P6 is good for now if we can hold off Ricciardo and the Williams driver. Though that's going to be a tall order as they're both very quick on pace. As we're going through the final corner, go quite wide, so not the best exit, unfortunately. And Ricciardo is going to have a much better straight line speed than us. He's just going to fly past us. Felipe Massa's going to follow us back, but we're going to defend the inside, force him out wide. But once again, no contact, very clean. But unfortunately, nothing I can do about Ricciardo. He just completely jumped us there and the overtake. So a good overtake from him there, and coming back at 20. My tyres are shredded. For some reason during this race I had the worst tyre wear compared to the AI. I think it was something to do with the setup. Went for a very quali based setup, and I found that with this game you do need like a special race type setup to manage the tyre wear. The tyre wear is pretty awful, especially compared to like F1 2014 in the game, stuff like that, when there's hardly any tyre wear. It's quite alarming, especially as I haven't played this game in a while. But you can see those masses put me a lot under pressure at the end of this lap, so I had to pit, otherwise he would have probably overtook me going into turn 1. So I think that was one lap earlier than I hoped, really. I hope to extend it to the end of lap 20. It means we'll be doing one lap longer on the prime tyres than I would have liked, really. Which is a shame, as the prime tyres doesn't really suit this car either. During the practice session I didn't feel comfortable on them, and obviously the slower tyre than the options. So going to lap 25, I got the jumper once again on Massa with the undercut. He's about 2 seconds behind me at this point. Ricciardo's just gone into the distance, so at the moment we're trying to keep ahead of Massa and Kvyat, who's not far behind him. But unfortunately we make pretty much our first major mistake of the race, really. Went wide at the right-hander there, and that just messed up our braking for the hairpin. We went on the grass, and that's completely messed up our run onto the pit straight. Massa's going to be right there to take advantage with his Williams straight line speed that he's got. Awesome in a straight line. But we're going to try and hold it down the inside. But there's a man who's come out of the pits, a lap car, and he's completely screwed over us. Massa's just turned into us a little bit there, and it meant we went shaking. The man has got back past us. So unfortunately the lap car probably ruined things there. Otherwise I would have actually hit the apex and probably got the position back from Massa. So Stevens there ruining things a little bit, and that's meant that Massa has now got the position ahead of us. We now got to protect P8, has now come up to the back of the other Mary, who's going to let us pass their start of the second sector. But we got Kvyat right behind us, as obviously my tyres are wearing out quite a bit there. Kvyat's quite a bit faster. But luckily he got held up a little bit more than I did by the lap car, so that should hopefully protect our advantage over him. Lewis Hamilton, by the way, has already run the race, so he was actually not far from lapping us. That's how bad our pace was today, unfortunately. Our pace wasn't that good in the Lotus car. I think I've got to tweak something to the setup. Our setup isn't that right, and if I'm honest, by Malaysia I was much happier with the setup, and I actually got not bad. I was actually much happier with the handling of the car and stuff like that on this game. So obviously being a bit rusty and new to this game, that's pretty much showing in this race a lot here. So we're going around the final corner from Albon, but unfortunately our car isn't accelerating that well. Kvyat's right behind us. He could get us a line here. He's going for it, and we just about hold him off. I think we almost ran out of fuel there. Must have been the last few jobs of the engine, and somehow we just about hold the Red Bull off. That must have been very close though. But that was a solid P8. Grosjean Clarence car, you should be fairly happy with that. But what's this? We're P6. How? This is another glitch by the game here. So what happened is Rosberg, I think, has retired on the final lap or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I'm surprised if he did return the final lap. Then why wasn't he 10th, like the last of the runners who finished on the lead lap? I'm confused there. I don't know what's happened, and I don't know why it's put us ahead of Ricciardo. I'm confused. Ricciardo definitely finished miles, like 10 seconds ahead of us. We definitely finished ahead of Kvyat. If you look at the timing screens, I definitely finished ahead of him. But I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know whether I should keep the 6th place displayed for me, or whether I should put myself down in 8th place and put Rosberg in 2nd, which I believe he finished, and Ricciardo ahead of me. So I'm not quite sure, guys. I'm going to leave that decision up to you. By the way, this is proving that I did race against Legend AI there. So I'm going to leave this decision to you guys. What do you think? Do you think I should keep the 6th place of display the game gave me, or should I put myself back in 8th place with the other 2 drivers in the competitions, or should I put myself in 7th place with Ricardo in his position or Rosberg? I'm going to leave those 4 options in a straw poll down below because I'm not sure, guys. I mean, should I go with what the glitchy game tells me, or should I go with what actually finished on the track? I'm not sure. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. And if you've got any comments on how we can improve this for the next couple episodes of this series, then feel free to comment down below any suggestions. And I will be adding features like using cinematic vision and replay cameras in the next episode. So for Malaysia, which is also a good race. I've already recorded that one. It's a very good race, and I can't wait to show you that, guy. So it's an alright start to the championship, but hopefully I can improve things for the next couple of rounds. So I'll see you guys then for the next race in Malaysia. So I'll see you guys then. Palms up.